Hey, what's going on, man? I was wondering when the chat was going to show up. Having a night in, guys. Got some whiskey. I hate it, man. I hate quarantine. I personally have watched a lot of shit where I don't want to get banned, but I personally don't believe in it. So I don't know, man. The one thing that's killing me the most is hitting the gym. I just want to hit the gym. I just want to get in there, lift some heavy shit. Um, I hate it, man. I hate it. How's it serving you? Yeah, I used to have one, man. I used to have a home gym in my old house. That was fun. When anything like this happened, it was easy. I could train at like 3 in the morning or something. It was so good. But I don't have that shit anymore. Don't have that shit in this house. It's a bit dirty. I'll give you a quick tour though if you want. I'm trying to keep it simple. My missus is working, not right now, but she's been working from home as well. I don't know if you can. We're just trying to keep it simple, just keep the most basic shit that we can have, keep everything cheap, put everything into business. For the three of you that aren't here right now that got here earliest, I'm going to give you a quick tip as well. I'm making a lot of money, but you do it yourselves, right? You can decide for yourself. But I've got a crypto gaming opportunity. There's a coin called Engine, and it's spelled ENJIN. It's the ENJIN coin, and I've invested quite a lot of money into this shit, and it's been recommended by a few big crypto traders. And as long a lot of you know, I used to work in finance, and a lot of those guys said it was going to be a great coin as well. It's going to blow up to be similar to Ethereum, not necessarily Bitcoin, but that's like $300-400 per coin, which is amazing considering it's starting at like less than a penny right now. Um, and that's going to be worth a lot of money. And I was watching Ready Player One the other day, and do you know what? I didn't actually like that film when I first watched it, but I watched it again. I love it. And in that film, what they did is the guy actually, he earns a lot of money in the game, and then what he did is he went and bought something, and he bought something in the game, and then it cuts to a scene where that arrives in real life. So he actually had that product in real life, and that made me realize how powerful that engine coin is going to be in real life. So as soon as gaming in general starts adopting this strategy of using bitcoins or alternative coins to kind of fund stuff or buy stuff, that's what they're going to do. They're going to buy stuff in the game, and then they're going to get it in real life. And honestly, guys, if I was you, like I just put about £500 on it, nothing crazy. But if it plays off, it could be like a million, 2 or 3 million, maybe even five. That's what the guy I was talking to said. But I don't know if it'll go to Bitcoin numbers. Um, but that's a ton of fucking money for such a small investment. And yeah, have a little look for it. Engine coin is ENJIN coin, and it's used in terms of gaming. I think it's going to take over the gaming world. You know how Project Gotham used to have kudos and stuff like that. I think that's going to happen for the whole gaming industry. How is everybody anyway? Anybody want me to talk about any particular topics? That's why I did it. No worries, man. Any particular topics you want me to cover? I'll explain to you guys why I'm drinking as well in a minute. Proper proper pissed off. As many of you know, I'm starting the men's streaming platform, which needs to happen, guys. It needs to happen badly because I've had a couple messages in the last month where they're trying to destroy anybody who talks about testosterone, the men's industry, anything that helps men, success related. Like I said, testosterone, aggression, anything that's not PC, social justice warrior, and that's kombucha. That's a drink, right? Um, yeah, and they're trying to stop anything that's. I'll tell you in a minute. Okay, I'll answer that question for you. But anybody who's trying to talk about the male industry, testosterone, how to be a successful guy, they're stopping them. And I've had a lot of messages, and I had one today that was from the porn industry in general, which I didn't really understand. I thought it was like different sections, but it was the whole porn industry, apparently. I didn't really understand it. And all these lawyers sent me a cease and desist letter, and they said, if you keep talking about nofap and all this other shit, we can take you to court. So I was like, okay, look, what do you want me to delete? Because I can't be fucking bothered to go to court. So I deleted the article that they wanted me to get rid of, right? Is what it is. 2 days prior to that, and on that day, my traffic on my website was horrendous. It went from, we get around about 2,000 traffic per day, which is like double what MSI College used to be, which is fantastic. We worked our balls off to get it there. And it dropped to like 200 to 300 people per day, which is like a tenth of what it was, which is ridiculous. So the porn industry got mad at me saying cease and desist, get rid of all this shit. So I said to them, like, are you responsible for everything that's going on? Are you responsible for everything that's like dipped with my traffic? And they said, we can't answer this. So it makes me think, they were. And then as soon as I deleted that article, all my traffic came back. It's not the same as before. Usually it's like 2,000. It's gone to about 800 to 900 per day. But like literally straight away, the second I deleted it, bang, all that traffic coming back. So, and I've got some shit I can't tell you guys about because this will get taken down. But I'm getting threatened from a lot of different people on not talking about men shit, not talking about testosterone. And honestly, guys, the men's industry is just getting attacked from every single angle, and that's why we need to create this streaming platform for men with male content. Because before long, people like Elliot Hulse are going to be taken down. Jordan Peterson's going to be taken down. He's already been taken down. His YouTube channel got taken down and then put back up. The film that he did, I tried to watch it the other day. It's been taken down. You can't even watch it. So what the fuck can you do, man? But to answer that question, I know one of you said about being 18, what can you do to become a successful man, make money? The first, I'd say there's probably around about 3 tips. I'd say the first thing you can do is read a fuck ton of books, be around successful people, and just expose yourself to as much stuff as possible. Because at 18, what you don't realize is you've just been born. So I've told you guys this before, that being successful at 30, that Forbes 30 under 30, like, fuck, that's a load of shit. Fuck off, right? They put so much pressure on us. Like Bill Gates was a billionaire at 31. It's like, it's so rare. People aren't going to do that on the odd occasion. So for your whole life, growing up to around about 16, we get our ass wiped for us by our mums and dads. They choose the clothes that we wear. We can't make our own decisions. We don't know anything. Like the saying says, it's not what you don't know that will hurt you. It's what you don't know that you don't know that will hurt you. And it's just an absolute. So I'm just trying to read these comments at the same time. So it's just an absolute nightmare if you don't even know what you don't know, right? And before around about the age of 16, you don't know fuck all. All of us. We're all thick as shit. We're all young, dumb, and full of cum. But by the time you get to around about 18, you start figuring a little bit of shit out. So if you're 18 right now, think about it. You've just been born, right? You're 1 year old, you're 0 year old, whatever you want to say. You're starting to figure stuff out. So what I would do is I would learn as much as possible. I'd read as much as possible. I'd watch podcasts, I'd watch videos. I'd try and figure out where the money's going, what industry you want to be in. I would not hang around, but I'd try and find mentors, rich people. I try and read a lot of books, because as much as you think you figured it all out, you know how this is going to be, you know how success goes, you don't know a lot. And I mean this with respect, because I was in the same boat. As I thought I knew everything at 18, but you don't actually know a lot, okay? So start trying to read as much as possible, figure stuff out, understand how life is. If you live in a tiny, small area, move somewhere big, be exposed to shit. My second point, and this is controversial, okay? But I've said that guys should do this for a long fucking time. And you guys know that I think that guys should be single. They should be, focusing on success when they're younger, etc. And like I said, this is controversial, but this is don't tell my girlfriend, right? But this is the most fun I ever had in my fucking life. And you guys should do it at some point. Is the first bit of money that you make, or if you can save a bit of money from a 9-to-5 job or something like that, right? What you should do is take like 2 or 3 thousand. I don't know. I lived in England, so I did this in Paris, but I went and flew to Paris for around about £300. I'll get to that, okay, Eagle. Um, but I went to Paris, okay. So I spent the money to get there. I went and rented a penthouse hotel suite. I went and met up with this escort in Paris who was, she could speak English, beautiful woman. I went and bought some nice clothes and I rented a car and I spent like 2 3 thousand on the whole night and I lived like a millionaire for that one night. And it was just after my mentor for My Like Girls Daily. I don't know if any of you guys remember that, the biggest Twitter page, biggest non-celebrity Twitter page ever at the time. It was enormous. I used to work with him. He was my mentor, one of my friends as well at the time. And he'd just taken us to Paris. So off the back of that, I went and paid a few thousand to take myself to Paris, get that penthouse, get the woman, the car, the suit, everything, have a great night, go out to a club with her. And that experience just made me feel like I was the most successful man on the planet. I had all this money. I was the dog's bollocks, right? So when I got back to the UK and I was like, I wasn't that successful, I didn't have that much money, it drove me. Like I was up till 2, 3 in the morning. I was motivated. To answer your question, Igor, I was motivated off the back of that. It kind of gave me that taster of what the good life could be like, that motivation of what I should be doing in order to get to the top level of society, of everything that comes with that. And I think just tasting those top level things that you've always dreamed of and just paying that big amount of money in one go and then going back to your normal life, I think it's a good idea. And it's very controversial and most people don't believe in it. For me, it works. For a lot of people, it works. I think if you're driven by materialistic shit, especially, even if you're not, but if you're driven by materialistic shit, do that. Give that a little try. I love that kind of shit. In terms of motivation, I think a lot of that comes from lifestyle, guys. So I think stop stuff like masturbating, eating shit food. Yeah. So it can be a driving point. So it's a one-off. So you don't have to do it 100 times. It's a one-off event that can then motivate you to go. Put it this way: if you think being poor is bad, try being rich and then losing it all and being poor again. And that's the effect that I kind of like to give people. So you go and spend 2 or 3 thousand on like a crazy event like I just described. You can do it any way you want. You might have your own personal viewpoint on how that kind of lifestyle goes. You live that for a weekend, 2, 3 days, 4 days, a week, one night, whatever. Go in Vegas, spend a ton of money. When you come back to reality, normal life, you're going to hate it. It's going to be shit. It's not, that holiday blues, when you get back off holiday, you hate your life, you want to get back to the beach or the hotel that you were in. It's the same sort of effect, and you're going to get that from living in that sort of manner. So when you're back home, you can use that as motivation to fuel yourself to get to the next stage. And every time you feel lazy and you want to go to bed, remember that feeling of how it felt to have that straight 10 on your arm, that nice car that you were driving through Paris past the Eiffel Tower. That's what I remember. And it motivates you. It motivates you to do more. But in terms of lifestyle, guys, like, you can't underestimate the power of doing things like NoFap, doing things like watching less TV, reading books, exercising, going for morning runs. Thank you, Infected. I've seen you a lot, Infected. I remember a lot of names on here, guys. So the more you comment, the more I'll recognize. That's high garlic. Just to finish off what I was saying, and I'll touch on that, okay? Like I said, no fap, things like that, getting up in the morning. Like we all know, right? If you go to the gym for 2, 3 weeks and you start to look a little bit better, you're more motivated to keep it going. And less going on your phone and stuff like that as well, like social media, etc. There's some good social medias. If you use them proactively, they're good. If not, don't use them. For those of you that didn't see the comments, he was asking about going less on your phone, technology, etc. But those habits like NoFap and all the other things, and mini breaks for purpose. Definitely. It's all a mindset thing, and we all know that you go to the gym for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks straight, you start seeing signs of like body fat being lost, muscle being gained. Maybe a certain girl says you look nice, or she double takes at you, or she squeezes your arm or something when you're out. we all use that as motivation and we all think to ourselves, okay, we're going to keep hitting the gym. Now, this is what no fap does and all these other things. It's like a chain reaction. So if you masturbate and then you go to bed, you wake up the next day, you might not be motivated. If you're on like a 7-day streak, you know, your brain's going to say, okay, let's get up in the morning. I'm motivated. Let's go for a run. This is fantastic. Let's keep this going. We all want things to be great when they're good, but it's a weird thing in humans. I don't know what it is. I'm going to research it at some point, but it's a weird like psychology hack where when things are going bad, we want them to be really bad. When things are good, we want them to be great. It's like an amplified effect. We don't, in the middle's boring. We either want them to be terrible or great. It's like the drama that a woman causes. To touch on your point about height correlating to women, I never lied to you guys. I think height definitely helps with women. But here's the thing. Nearly every successful guy is short. And the reason is, I think you compensate for things. Now, I went through telogen effluvium a few years ago where, quite a funny story, my hair, I used to have like real long, thick Justin Bieber looking hair. I went through a ton of stress. And from here, straight down the middle, there appeared a massive hole. And then it spread that way. Since I've shaved my head, I couldn't really give a fuck. I feel more confident and happier than ever. But the point I'm making, to get back to your height point, is I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to compensate. I'm going to become successful. I'm going to become in better shape. You know, you look at people like Vin Diesel. He's bold, pretty ugly guy, if we're being honest. But he's in fantastic shape and he gets a ton of women. He's dating a model. He's got kids with a model. And it's the same with short guys. A lot of short guys realize, okay, I'm short. I'm going to become successful. I'm going to be hilarious. I'm going to be confident. I'm going to be smart. You know, and I made a video about this before, guys, that I think it was on the hair loss one, but they should go for being shorter or short as well, is that it's such a small part of your life. It's such a small part. So you could be short but be successful. You could be confident. You could be hilarious. You could be a smart guy. You could have a good job or a business that earns a lot of money. You could dress well. You know, you could have all these traits. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, the thing is, if you have the perfect genetics and you're that Chad, I think you guys have heard that whole Chad thing that goes on in America. If you have everything when you're born, like your parents are rich, you were born 6'4", not born, but you know, if you were, yeah, I'd agree with that. I don't care about race or anything like that. I just put every guy in the same topic. Thank you, I appreciate that comment. Stream's starting to build up. It's quite nice. I might do these more often. But if you're born with everything in life and you're born with, you know, money, height, genetics, and you're blessed, you become lazy. We all know this. It's why trust fund kids, rich kids usually die of drug overdoses, because they just get bored at how easy life is. And it's the same for, like, if you're the best looking guy in college and you're just like super handsome, you're 6'4", you play on like the American, what do you call it, NFL team, American football, the rugby team or whatever, and you're just like the guy that gets all the girls, you're going to be going to all the parties, you're going to get lazy, there's no reason to improve. Like, bald men probably know more about hair than guys with hair. Guys with, like, my dad has stage 4 cancer. I'm telling you, my dad probably knows more about cancer than a cancer doctor, because he cares about it, because he's dying from it. He's researched it more than the doctor would, because he actually gives a fuck. He cares about it more. And it's the same with whether, let's say you're losing your hair, you've got a big nose, big ears like me. It doesn't really matter, guys. Or, you know, you're short. You're going to know more about other areas of life, because you have to compensate. In your opinion, you have to compensate. Because you think, okay, for example, I used to work with a guy, right? Short Indian guy who's bald. Now imagine that situation. 7 out of 10. I love that concept. Thank you for watching that. I used to work with a guy called Sanjay, who was a salesman, and he used to openly say, okay, I'm a short, fat, bald Indian guy, right? That was his description of himself. He was the most confident, funny, best salesperson I've ever met on this planet. And he could walk up to any woman and get her into bed like that. He could sell to the CEO of Google in 10 minutes. Genius of a guy, super smart, super successful, worth about 18 million. And one of my good friends to this day. He always said the reason he got to that point is because his life was so shit when he was growing up. You know, he was short, bald, fat Indian guy, and there was a lot of racism when he was growing up. He used to take a lot of shit. So he became a lot better. And thank you, J2, today. You always do the best comments, man. Your comments are amazing. Thank you. I remember everybody on this shit. But yeah, he compensated for all this stuff, and now put it in perspective today. His wife's pretty nice, right? He's got 2 kids. He's nearly 40. He's worth about 18-20 million. He started hitting the gym. He's got personal training because he's got the money to pay for this shit now. He's got all the money in the world. He dresses well, you know, he's super smart, hilarious, most confident man I've ever met in my life. And when we used to go out on like company nights out, he used to attract any woman, you know, crowds used to gather around him. He was an unbelievable guy, and I still speak to him to this day. To be honest, I'll probably get him on this podcast because I think he could shed a lot of light on what guys are looking for in this world. But to answer your question on short guys, yeah, like this guy was like 5'6", 5'7". He could get pretty much any woman he wanted because he compensated in other areas. Had he been born 6'4", he might have got lazy. He might now be working for someone else and he's worth maybe 50,000, but he's now worth like 18 million because he realized he might have to do something extra. It's the same in Hollywood. You know, every single actor, Ryan Gosling's like 5'9". Brad Pitt is probably one of the only tall guys. Thank you, man. Brad Pitt's probably like 5'11", 6 foot. Leonardo DiCaprio is like 6 foot. You know, Bradley Cooper, they're like probably the tall ones. But you look around at everyone else, like McGregor is 5'9". Mayweather's like 5'7", 5'8". You've got Tom Cruise, who's like 5'3". You know, pretty much if you look through, like Bruno Mars is like 5'1". Pretty much every single successful guy is short because they're more driven. You know, like I said, guys who lose their hair, like there's a ton of successful bald guys in the world because they go, I've lost my hair, I better become rich, I better get in great shape, I better compensate. Like you don't want to be bald and fat and ugly and lazy and broke. You know, if you just play the cards you got, you know, if you got 3 threes in your deck, you just play them. You just play the cards you got and you just work with them. You just confidently go out there and you say, I'll build up these traits. I'll do more public speaking. You've got nothing to lose. That's the thing. Once you start losing things, you start losing everything. You've only got stuff to gain. So if you were born short, guess what? You're not going to get any shorter. So you might as well become successful because you can only get richer. You're not going to get in worse shape. So you might as well get in better shape. You're not going to get dumber, so you might as well get smarter. Do you see what I mean, right? There's certain things we can control, there's certain things we can't. If you're born short, use it. Use it to your advantage. If you're born with terrible hair genetics and it all falls out and everybody in your family is bald, be the one guy that stays in shape when he's bald. Be the one guy that becomes super successful, that dresses well, that it's pretty easy, guys. You know, there's so many areas of life. Like I said, the straight 7 system, somebody brought it up then. You don't have to be a 10 in all areas. You know, a 7 is just above average. So you could be just above average in looks. You could be just above average in wealth, in assets. There's so many different areas. So just being like a 1 or a 0 in terms of looks and being like a 7 in every other area, I guarantee you'll still get women. I guarantee you. What's everybody's drink of choice? Mine's usually either Magners, which is a cider, because I grew up in the countryside in England. Bunch of hills and farmers, people with 6 toes. What's the other one? Wine, red wine. Red wine's my favorite. I love red wine. But I've recently turned vegan and not a lot of them are vegan, so it's hard to find. But what does everybody drink? Leave comments. Any more questions as well? Any more male-related things, masculine things, alpha male, body language, whatever? I'll answer them all. I've got time. What time is it? Oh, wow. Okay. Desperados and lemon juice. I used to drink Desperados. They taste like Coronas, right? Oh, don't mention Corona. Shit, we could get banned. We could get taken down. Don't mention it. Old fashioned. Lovely. Lovely. That's some GQ shit. What do people think of GQ these days, guys? Calisthenics, I'll touch on that in a second. What does everyone think of GQ? I want to replace GQ. I want to be the next GQ, but I think their male audience is gone, man. Water and soya milk. That's nice. That's nice. That's a vegan diet if I've ever seen one. Okay, let's answer a couple of these questions. So we said about calisthenics. I was a calisthenics. My arm's getting tired. I was a calisthenics coach for 2 years. I used to do nothing but body weight training. I think it's fantastic. It's got strengths and weaknesses though. Here's the thing. With calisthenics, you're only going to get as big as you weigh unless you add weights to your body. So you could tie weights around your waist, around your legs. I used to put the big chains around my neck and do pull-ups. That got me really big. Pain-free. Yeah, it depends, man. If you're doing compound lifts, it can fuck up your knees, it can fuck up your elbows and your wrists and stuff. Lifting heavy all the time isn't necessarily good. Maybe use this lockdown as a break. That's kind of what I'm doing to recover my body. But sometimes you can get stiff and there's no synovial fluid going around your joints. That can be a problem. But with calisthenics, I found that you kind of get as big as you weigh, unless, like I said, you add chains to it or weights or whatever. But there's certain movements you can't really do that for. So I'd put on the vest. I'd put on like the 10 kg vest and I'd do a pull-up. But you try and do a muscle up in a 10 kg vest and it gets caught on the bar. So there's few things that are very hard to do. Now pull-ups and dips you can do with weights, they're fantastic. I'd recommend them. They're compound lifts, you can put on a ton of muscle. Steve, who was on the podcast, recommends them. Well, I think we're doing a podcast tomorrow, me and Steve. We're going to do it on fitness, working from home, training from home, because he's in Spain at the moment. He's trying to put together a training regime. Their lockdown is intense. There's like 3 different types of police out there. It's been a nightmare. But he's trying to put all that together. And he's going to come on the podcast, talk about all that shit, testosterone, how I'm being suppressed, he's being suppressed. It's a nightmare. But he talks about dips. He talks about pull-ups. 30-year-old man. I'll touch on that in a minute as well. It's a good topic. I like that. Thank you. But yeah, the dips and the pull-ups and stuff, they're fantastic. But then when you put the vest on, you can't go upside down, you can't do certain shit. So you can only get as big as you weigh in so much of a sense. So what I would do in terms of calisthenics is I would mix it in with weights. So what I did is I did like 2 or 3 years of calisthenics, build up that core, that functional strength, natural strength, real strength that can be used, and then go and do maybe a year of weights, and then maybe do a year of functional strength where you're like moving around in certain ways, where you're doing like lunges with a weight like a kettlebell above your head or something. There's so many different ways to train. And according to Simeon Panda, who's one of the best fitness guys, he reckons you get around about 3 months or 90 days. Sorry, my battery's running low, bear with me. Around about 90 days out of any sort of gains. So when you're in the gym, any sort of gains, it's around about 90 days, like I said, or 3 months. So you want to use it to your advantage. You really want to knuckle down while you have that to your disposal. Will this flip? Perfect. So I would say maybe do something like 3 months to a year of calisthenics, then do a year, 3 months or something of heavy weights, then do explosive sprints. Like, mix your training up. There's no one fits all, because your body will adapt, it will get used to certain things. So calisthenics is good, it's great in fact. If you've been doing weights for like the last year or two, jump to calisthenics. You'll find you'll get those beginner gains no matter what you do. So if you do sprint training, you'll get beginner gains. If you do marathon training, you'll get beginner gains in terms of marathon run. You might get big calves. You might do plyometrics, or for example, I live in the UK. We played basketball a lot in Toronto, and when I first arrived, I was trying to dunk. I'm like 6'2", and I was just about touching the rim. By the time we left, I could dunk with ease. And it's kind of those muscles that you weren't using before and now being used. And I think it's the same with calisthenics, heavy weights, compound lifts, strongman type of lifts like tire flips, 1 rep to 3 rep, and then switch it up to 6 rep to 12 reps, 8 to 12 or something like that. I definitely believe training is about mixing it up, challenging yourself, doing boxing for 3 months. That's why opinion is so broken apart. Some people say calisthenics is the best. Some people say weights are the best. Some people say strongman lifting. Some people say compound. Some people say swim. It's because you're going to get beginner gains based on where you are at that current point or that current time in your life. So if you're currently doing heavy weights and then you change to calisthenics, calisthenics are going to give you amazing beginner gains, and you're going to think that you should have been doing that the whole time. Calisthenics are the best, but it's because you've been doing something else, and then your body changes. It's shocked. You're shocking the system. You're getting those beginner gains. Your body's going to be enormous. It's going to grow to those gains. What was the topic? One of you said 30, the 30-year-old man. Was it? Leave a comment. Was it successful by 30? Was it becoming successful by 30 is stupid? Because I'll touch on that now. Okay, yeah. Okay, successful by 30. So I'm 27 now, and I don't feel old. I feel like a baby. Now, I've always said you're nothing until you're around about 18. Now, for some people, it's 21. Depends on where you are in your life. A lot of people are still getting drunk, going out, just causing mayhem up to about the age of 21. I know the thing is, in America, you're not allowed to drink till you're 21. It doesn't mean that you guys aren't. I'm sure you are. I'm sure you're going out and drinking, right? Like we were. I was drinking at 14, sleeping with women, etc. Yeah, successful by 30. Thank you, infected. But you get to a point in your life where you think, okay, I know a little bit more now. I thought I was an expert last year. This year, I know a lot more, and then the next year you surprise yourself again, so on, so on. But I think the first kind of stage of that is maybe 18, 21, based on whatever country you're in. Now, I think if you're in the US, you're probably going to go out and get drunk off your ass. Opportunity worth pursuing. Elaborate on the opportunity. I wouldn't mind touching on that subject. I'll talk about it in a second. Thank you. But yeah, successful by 30. If you're living in America and you're 30 years old, you're probably about 9 years old, because you probably only started drinking at like 21, going out, sleeping with women, all this other shit. In the UK, like I said, I started doing all that shit at like 14. My dad left at 14. I was exposed to a lot of shit young, house parties, women, etc. I looked older. I had a beard and stuff, so I was exposed to older women. They wanted different shit, so it is what it is. But even if you're exposed to that shit at like 18, you're still at the age of 30. You're still only 12 years old. Change your face, bro. Okay, I'll touch on those two subjects, career and mewing. Let me write them down because I forget all this shit. I've had too many drinks. There we go. Yeah, but like I said, if you're 30 years old, in the majority of countries, you're like, on average, you're like 10 years old, okay? So you don't really know enough yet about the world. You're only just starting out. You're figuring shit out. It takes the average entrepreneur around about 12 years to start a business, to become successful in a business, to make money from it over like a high level. That's a long time. So if you started a business at 20, you'd be 32 before you made some serious money. People would see you at 32, 33 and be like, what a successful guy. They wouldn't see the years leading up to it where you're learning shit. And we've got these early years of our life. So everybody gets to 30 and they panic. So they say, oh, I'm 30 years old. I'm getting old. I've got, I'm nearly halfway towards the end of my life. I'm going to die soon. Like, guys, honestly, stop panicking, because you think about it. When you're born, pointless, okay? We don't have a learning curve like other animals. Other animals come out of the womb, they start walking, they're great. We've got 0, you're a waste of time. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? So you're only just starting to speak and walk for yourself. Again, waste of time, you can't do shit. You've got 7, I think it's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe you've started grabbing like a chocolate bar or something, or candy out of the cupboard. Maybe you started tying your own shoelaces. Don't be too hard on yourself though, because you're not going to be a fucking billionaire. Not everybody can be that guy on YouTube who's made video reviews about toys that he's reviewing on YouTube. You know, he's a one-off. He did it by accident. His parents probably told him to. He probably did it for fun. You know, he's not. Everybody always makes out, oh, young 14-year-old millionaire entrepreneur. He's not an entrepreneur. You know, it's like Kylie Jenner. They're not entrepreneurs. They just kind of get pushed into that direction. Somebody told him, go on YouTube, start making videos, review these products, or he thought it'd be fun. You know, it's not up here. It's not, oh, I could turn this into a business. This is why so many YouTubers make a ton of money and then drop off quickly, because they don't have the business mindset. They kind of fall into success. It happens accidentally. So you get to like age, I don't know, let's say 10, like I said, it's pointless. So then you've got 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, you start finding out that, you know, maybe other things matter. It doesn't matter about being like the quick guy, the guy with, you know, who's maybe the strongest in the group. Certain things start appealing more. Like, he's the guy who fucks the most girls. He's the guy that gets the most female attention. He's the guy who's got the most money. He's the guy who passed his driving test earliest. You know, shit like that starts to come into the frame. But you still don't know what the fuck you're doing. I didn't, anyway. You know, life was confusing for me at that age. I had spots everywhere, you know, it was awkward. Flicky hair, if you can believe that now. And it was probably at the age of 18, I lost my best friend in a car accident, which was sad. You know, I don't want sympathy for it. Got through it, learned a lot from it. And I matured a lot quicker than other people. So at 18, I started thinking, okay, let's make some real money. Let's look after people. There must be more to life than what we've been doing. My friend just died in a car accident. Life's short. Let me figure shit out. Had that not happened, I might have been 25 before I figured this shit out. You know, there's friends of mine or people that I used to work with in offices in 9-to-5 jobs that are still doing that kind of shit today, where they're going on nights out, they're getting drunk, they're just kind of chasing women, they just want a mortgage, marriage, kids, you know, that kind of Osmond type of life. And it's hard to figure shit out. Like, everyone gets it at different stages. I used to work with a guy who got to 31 years old and he said, look, I want to leave. And I was like, this company's amazing. I was like 17 years old, 18 years old. I got fired because I slept with the boss's daughter. That was funny. But it was funny. She was hot, so it was worth doing. But he said to me, he was like, I want to start my own company. I want to start my own business. So he starts his own company and he starts making a ton of money. But it took him to 31 to realize that. It took him to 31 years old. And that's why being 30 years old is, oh, I've got to be successful at that age. It's a waste of time, guys. It's pointless. You know, so many people like Gary Vee will tell you your 40s are fantastic. Somebody like George Clooney will tell you that your 50s are fantastic. So it just depends what you want to do. But one trick in order to get there is to stay tie free. So you need to stay away from the whole, what can I say this would be? Unexpected costs? Not really, I guess. Unnecessary costs. So things like marriage, things like kids, things like loans, university fees. You don't need them. Society's set up in a way which makes us think that we need all this shit. You don't need them, guys. You really don't need them. So you could plausibly come out of school at like 16, get a job, work your way up, make 20, 30,000 a year, and use all that money and inject it into a business, crypto, stocks, whatever it might be, and keep doing that and become super successful by the age of like 25, 30 years old. That's plausible. But if you go down that standard route, it's going to hamper you. You're going to have too many debts, too many bills, too much shit to pay for, too many distractions. I know a guy who recently got a commission from a sales job. It was around about 15,000 UK. So like, sorry, I'm reading all these comments. Sorry, I missed that one. I wonder if I can see it now. Yeah, the standard route is always a trap, and I'll get to what you said in terms of technology in a second. Let me write that down. Um, yeah, but it's just like you're saying, there's so many traps out there, guys, and you can fall for them. But I knew that guy who made like 15,000 in commission, and I said to him, look, either put it into these funds that I've suggested for you. He wanted to buy a house in Bristol, where he was from, which is a place in the UK. Nice place. It was voted the most livable city in the UK. And he could have bought that place for the money he had. He saved up like 20,000. He could have rented it out and maybe earned himself £700-800 per month after tax, which is a nice bump to your wages. That's like $1,000. I think even a millionaire would be like, you know what, I'll take that as extra money. And especially in the situation he was in, right? He would have bumped his wages up to like 4,000 or 5,000 a month, which would have been fantastic. He instead decided to spend that money on a ring and marriage. So he's lost every single penny of that money. Now, I don't know if any of you believe in kind of like quantum physics, quantum science, and like kind of, let's say you have two routes here. One goes off that way, one goes off that way. His life was at a crossroads there. If he had invested that money in himself and been selfish, like I said, as a single man, now by the time he hit 30, like we're saying, based on this discussion, he could have had a ton of money in his bank. You know, he could have had a secondary income, used that extra money for something else. Now he's got a property portfolio or something like that. He goes off on that route, the marriage route. He's lost all that money. I think marriage is as bad as buying a car. I think you save up 10,000, you go and buy a new BMW 1 Series, brand new one, 2020 plate. All that money's gone. It'd probably be a 2018, 2019 plate, wouldn't it? But all that money's gone. It's gone. So you have to work those same hours again to build up that same money. And all you've got to show for it is a depreciating asset, which is the car. It's pointless. And that's what my friend who earned that 15,000 sales commission, which is big fucking money for anybody, right? Even a top level CEO would be happy at that. He's just lost all that money and he has to kind of start again and hope there's going to be another deal like that. And I just think that's kind of pointless. But touching on the subject of turning 30, guys, like based on what I just said there, you can help yourself, okay? It's plausible to be a 21-year-old millionaire, but you don't know what you don't know. You know, if you had, for example, if I was your brother and you were 3 years old and I was teaching this shit every single day, I think you're probably going to be a 21-year-old millionaire. I wish I had a brother like me when I was growing up. I didn't. I had a sister who went to uni, did the typical route. Lovely girl, love her to bits, but she didn't believe in the entrepreneur stuff or anything that I'm doing. My dad did, but he'd left at 14. But he made like $250,000 a year at one point from just hard graft, just digging and stuff, just building petrol pumps, all that sort of shit. But for the average person, you know, and we get caught up in this fucking mystery, and this annoys me. We get caught up in this whole sports, so athletes, and the kind of Justin Bieber pop star life, where we're like, you know, people always put on Instagram these little memes. It winds me up. This guy's 21 years old. He owns a £10 million house. He's done this. He's accomplished this. His net worth's 50 million. What were you doing at 21? Like, that's so unfair because, you know, Justin Bieber has a voice of an angel. No, I'm kidding. Justin Bieber has a fantastic voice, right? He was born with that. Yeah, he developed it a little bit, but it's not like a sport or something or business where you've got competitors. Like in music, you're either good or you're not. You make a hit record, it goes to #1. Other songs can be around that. You can make money. Like people will buy that song, that song, that song, that song, and that song. Sport's a little bit tougher. You're either top dog or you're not. You either score the goal or you don't. You either get the touchdown or you don't. The defender tackles you. So sport's a little bit harder, but it's the same situation. Like Usain Bolt was destined for greatness at a young age. So, but this is what's put in the media. It's just like Kylie Jenner makes $1 billion at 21. What are you doing in your life? Justin Bieber, superstar at 16. What are you doing with your life? You're double his age. Why have you not made money yet? You know, all these people have done this. Usain Bolt just set the world record at 28 years old. He's done this and this and this. He's only 28. What does the future hold for this great man? What have you done in your life? None of us are living the same life, guys. We're not living the same life. So for a sports person, I think you can see my hand, their life does this. Ready? 16, 18, 20, 25, 30. See ya. And their life tails off. For the rest of us, our lives do this. Shit, 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 more shit, shit, more shit, more shit, more shit, less shit, less shit, less shit, less shit. Great life. And I know that was a terrible example. It's just full of shit. But that's exactly how the average male life goes, and especially male life. For women, they might go 16, boobs, ass, hips, hot, date a millionaire at 18, done, pregnant, you know, rich for life, payments. For a man, we don't get that luxury. And we might grow up with zero talents, but what we do have is discipline. We have testosterone, which this is why I keep getting fucking banned off everywhere. I got banned off Facebook because I keep saying testosterone makes men successful. The more testosterone you have, the more driven you are, the more aggressive, competitive you are in a business sense. And Facebook banned me. Like people were shadow banning me. I'm pretty sure YouTube have. Hence why the videos don't get hundreds of thousands of views, like, I don't know, a Logan Paul man hanging in the woods type of video shit. But yeah, I keep pushing this forward about like how men can just kind of aspire, like the male advantage. We can just grow as we get older. Like we maybe get to like 16 years old, we start figuring shit out. We get to 18 years old, shit becomes a little bit clearer. We get to 21, we stop being a dickhead. We stop being an asshole. 22, you're much better than you used to be. Jesus came back to life at 30. What are you doing? Did he really? What about Lazarus? I'm not a religious guy, but I just know this shit from my schooling life. That's funny, man. I like that. But yeah, you get to like 18, you don't know shit. Like I said, you get to 21, you don't really know shit. Each year beyond that, you start learning more and more. And it's a good thing, you know, because if you're the same guy at 30 as you were at 21, you've done something wrong. So you should grow, you should progress. You know, I think it was Ty Lopez. I used to watch him. That's amazing, man. I'll talk about NoFap in a second. I watched Ty Lopez a lot when I was young, and as much as people take the piss out of him, what he offered to my life was unbelievable. He gave so many tips, and he thinks about things in terms of a macro level, and then he breaks them down into the micro. It's very, very good what he does. You know, but he was breaking it down in the sense of, sorry, there's so many topics that we've gone through here. Fuck. Anyway, let's move on to the NoFap stuff. I think I could probably remember it, guys. No, it's gone. Fuck it. It'll come back up. Remind me what I was talking about if you can. But in terms of NoFap, so you tried, that guy said he tried NoFap for 2 weeks, okay? Or a week. And he felt like he could accomplish anything. That's definitely part of becoming a man, of growing up and becoming somebody better. Because, you know, NoFap, what it does is, a lot of people don't realize this, and I watched the video again recently because I thought it would be very, very interesting to see. There's actually, I don't know if any of you were here at the start, but the porn industry contacted me and were going crazy. They sent me a cease and desist letter, which is kind of funny, you know. They wanted me to get rid of all the NoFap shit. I got rid of a few of them that I could afford to get rid of, so it is what it is. But they fucked up all my traffic, man. Technology. I can't remember, man. So many things to talk about. But thank you. It's just something about Ty Lopez. I can't remember what he was saying. I might remember it later. I don't know. But yeah, in terms of NoFap, they tried to ban all my content, which was fucking ridiculous. And they're trying to silence me. They're trying to shut me up. They fucked up all my traffic, which was a nightmare. Traffic's down to like 10% of what it was. I think it will come back. It is what it is. You know, we've got a good core audience here, so is what it is, but never mind. But the thing with NoFap, I said before, and I just watched the videos again. Real sad story, actually. I spoke to the guy that made he made the TEDx video on NoFap, on porn and stuff. He's really ill. He said he's got a long-term illness. He was going to come on the podcast, and he said he's really ill, and he suggested 2 other guys to come on the podcast. But he changed men's lives forever. You know, there was Alexander Rhodes who did the NoFap thing. Mewing, I'll get on to Mewing in a minute. I love Mewing. It's one of my main topics, and I met Mike Mew. He's a really nice guy, actually. But yeah, the guy who did the demise, it's not the demise of guys, I can't remember the name of it now, but that's another guy. But he's really ill. I think he's got a serious long-term injury, illness, which gutted me because he's such a good guy and he changed the industry for everybody forever. And it's just shit, you know, but never mind. You know, hopefully he recovers. I said to him, hopefully he recovers and he can come on the podcast soon, but what can you do, right? We can't fight shit like this. So, but I watched it recently and they were talking about the Coolidge effect. So one thing I want to touch on is that you think about it, right, guys? So a beautiful woman walks past. You see her, you think she's hot, you think she's gorgeous. You want to go and speak to her. But what do? Most guys, 90% of guys do this in the modern era. And except black guys. I made a video on this earlier. Black guys are so confident. I think more guys need to be like black guys. They've figured shit out in this era. They're slowly becoming more like white guys, but they figured this shit out in this era. But you see a beautiful woman walk past. What a lot of guys do is they're too afraid. They've got this anxiety issue and they keep that shit in here. So they go home, they masturbate, whatever. They ejaculate and the brain doesn't know any different. So the brain was thinking of that woman when they did it. The brain received pleasure. You've got your synapses, they get that dopamine burst, and it was like, that was great. I finally got the reward that I was chasing. Now that's unfair. That's kind of like it's like going to the gym, not doing anything, or I'll tell you what, going to the gym, injecting yourself with steroids, not training, and then coming home. That's similar to masturbating without approaching the woman. Or, let's say starting a business, and on day 2, your rich dad says, okay, here's 2 million, Trump style, and you think you're a top businessman, but you haven't learned anything along the way, and your brain kind of thinks you've done well, but you really haven't. It's sort of similar to that sense, and it's not nice. Like I've always said, struggle is good. Going through shit is good. The male journey is beautiful. I love the male journey of. I'd hate to be a woman. I would hate to be a woman. I've said this a million times, because women, like I said, do this meteoric rise, and then they just tail off so quickly, and they don't learn anything. They learn everything here. This is like, if you've ever met a 40 or 50-year-old woman, at this point, they're so nice. They're such good people. They've learned so much about life. They're much better than they were when they were on the come up, and they thought they were gorgeous, the hottest shit around. Men, we learn all of our shit here, so that when we hit our peak, we're a lot more sensible about what we're doing. And it's the same with NoFap. You're going through that grind, you're going through that difficult stage at the start, but so many guys masturbate and give themselves that reward, and it's the wrong thing to do. You want to stay away from that shit, and you want to suffer. You want to build your brain so that it says, by the time it fully forms, well, I think it can adapt at any point, but by the time it fully forms, it can say to itself, okay, in order to achieve stuff, I need to work hard. In order to accomplish things, I need to grind. I need to suffer. I need to go through these, 10 rituals of maybe getting rejected 100 times, of maybe not, having sex, not masturbating, not getting that release, so that my brain gets desperate, so that, like we said earlier, short guys, bald guys, etc., they compensate in other areas. By doing something like NoFap, you end up compensating, because your brain says, okay, we're not getting sex. What else can we do? And you might not have that internal conversation with yourself, but unconsciously, your brain's doing that for you. So it'll need less sleep. You'll get up at 5 a.m. You'll want to go for a run. Now, if you're actually masturbating, watching porn, you're going to lie in bed for longer, because your brain's not urgent to get that sexual release. And a lot of guys don't realize this, is they kind of, like, I know I promote the whole NoFap lifestyle, staying away from women when you're young to become successful, staying away from marriage, etc. But you need to, even though you're staying away from it, you should use it. So a lot of guys can screw that as, that needs to be like 10 years without women, 20 years without women. I never said that, and I don't implore that. Especially if you're doing NoFap, because it'll drive you insane. You'll end up relapsing. It will be an absolute problem. And if you go without sex for too long, the testosterone actually drops. So it's actually a problem. We all love women, right? Maybe there's some gay men on here. Maybe they love men, right? Use that to your advantage, whatever it may be. So, like I said at the start, when I went to Paris and I used that to my advantage, and I got that penthouse, I got the car, the woman, etc., and I had the perfect scenario. You should use that, especially when you have successes. So somebody asked me the other day, I can't remember who it was, in one of the comments, should I stay away from women forever? And the answer is no. So you stay away from women for maybe a month, and then at the end of that month, set yourself up with a date with the best possible woman that you can get at that time. Enjoy yourself, maybe have sex with her, spend some time, and then use that as motivation to go back to the grind. Maybe do 2 months, 3 months, make a ton of money. Maybe you've just landed a 20K deal for your own business, and you're like, shit, okay, I've just made 20 grand. After tax, it's probably going to end up being something like 14. Maybe take 2,000 of that. Maybe it's a bit much, if you're doing the thing that I just said, but maybe take 1,000 of that and say, okay, let me enjoy it. Or maybe take 200-300 of that, take a girl out for a date, book a hotel, take her back, have sex, enjoy it, do everything that you need to do. Peter, how you doing, man? Me and Peter have phone calls all the time, man. We always have good conversations. He's a good guy. I need to reply to your text actually on WhatsApp. I did see it. A lot of shit going on right now though, man. But yeah, use women as motivation. Women use men all the time. They use us for jealousy. They use us for clout. They use us for confidence, personal self-esteem issues. We need to use women more in this society of, okay, she's hot, I'm going to spend the night with her. Celebrities do this all the time. I remember a video with Trey Songz where he said, he's not my idol or anything, but he said something like he sleeps with women for like a month or two, and then he moves on to the next one. A month or two, moves on to the next one. Maybe it's one woman for a month, a week, this, whatever. But he finds high quality, high class women. He spends a little bit of time with them. He moves on. And he said that he uses this as motivation so that when he does these sort of things, his sexual energy goes up, he feels confident, he feels happy, you know, he gets that, maybe gets that release, and then he goes back to work. So it might be like a month of solid work, maybe 29 days, and then the final weekend of the month, 2 days, dating a woman, enjoying yourself, having fun. The whole nofap movement is fantastic, but I think it's slightly flawed. And I wrote an article on this once, and I think they banned me from the Reddit forum because it went to #1. Do I mentor people as well? Yeah, somewhat. If people need help, this is what this whole thing is. But yeah, if anybody wants to have a call, let me know in the comments. I'll leave my number or something. We can probably have a chat about different issues. I do it all for free, guys. I'm not charging the audience anything. I don't want to do that, man. I only want to charge people when it's massive value, like the streaming service, which is still going to be dirt cheap. But the whole no-fap movement, man, like a lot of people seem to think that it's, agreed, infected. Power of no-fap, celibacy, talked about in ancient scriptures, agreed, it's nothing new. But what a lot of people do is, especially the no-fap community, is the only fault I found in it is that you want to keep people trapped in that no-fap community. Now, a lot of people do hard mode where they go without sex. I don't think that's a good idea. I think sex is amazing. I think it's a great motivator. I think it can get you a lot of places in life. And one of my main motivations in life is women, is, you know, money, success, etc. But a lot of it is women. I've found, me personally, when I'm around attractive women, I get a spike in testosterone, I get a spike in ambition, you know, kind of I want to achieve more, I want to do more in life. And I think, okay, I could get to that level. You know, I remember when we went to Paris, we had a crazy night in Paris with the guy who runs Out Like Girls Daily. And we met a few models that night. We met Kim Kardashian, Kylie Jenner was there. No, not Kylie, sorry. Kendall Jenner was there with Gigi Hadid, Kris Jenner. There was a group of them anyway. And we got talking to a few of them. We got talking to some Algerian models in this club, and it was fun. And that motivation that I got from talking to those like high level women made me want to spur on and make more money and get to that level where I could be like, okay, I could date these girls and see what that's like. And, you know, if I was on NoFap, imagine, like, I don't think she's that great, but imagine if like Kendall Jenner said, okay, Chris, do you want to have sex? And I was like, I'm on NoFap. Don't be silly, guys. You know, this is why you do NoFap, to build up that sexual energy, to become successful, to get in a position to sleep with these women of a higher level, or to earn more money, to become successful. The end goal is always sex, though. The end goal is always sex. It's always who you can have sex with. It's what level you're at. You know, if you, like, for example, ask yourself this now, guys. You want to have a free schedule, bro? Yeah, absolutely, man. I'll leave my number. We can have a chat. We can talk about different things. I don't mind. It'll be free. Don't worry about that. But ask yourself this question, okay? So you want to make money. I guarantee every guy on this call wants to make money and have shit. Everybody's got a house that they dream of. They might be different. I'm good, Peter. How are you, man? Every guy wants to, you know, have a certain level in life where they achieve the house they want, the car they want, this they want, you know, all these fucking things, right? Why? And you look at the core reason. I want to do it for myself. Why? Because I want to be a better man. Because I want to be in better shape. I want to be this. I want to be that. Okay. Lunch break. That's amazing, man. You're on that night shift. You know, so you want all these things, and you come down to the core reason why. And the core reason is, thank you, Daniel. And the core reason is always because you want to fuck. You want to fuck certain women. So you want to become a successful man because you want to have sex. You're looking for enlightenment. Okay, let me just finish my point and I'll touch on that. So you want to become a successful man because you want to fuck better women. You want a better car because you want people to see you, so people think you're better, you have better social value, because you want to fuck better women. It's always the core value. Now, if you want to do it for enlightenment, I agree. I did no fap, no sex, etc. And I had an active sexual life from like 14 to 21. And then I went like 2 years after my first girlfriend, staying away from women, doing no fap. And I managed to build MSI College and built a successful business and then went back to it. So in terms of enlightenment, I don't think it like, you got guys like Tesla who said that the less he has sex, the more better, you know, the better ideas he thought of, etc. He lived in a different era. We live in an era now where these sort of things are accessible. You know, you don't have to wait 20 years to become successful. You could hustle and grind on a business for like 5 years and make $1 million or $2 million. Then what are you gonna do? You know, you want to do no fap, you want to find enlightenment, or do you want to enjoy a little bit of it? Now both are fine, and you can do the enlightenment route, and you can, you know, you can try and achieve like some sort of guru level that takes you to, I don't know, some heights that you've never seen before. But the same level, but at the same time, let's be honest, guys, like, who doesn't want to know what it's like to fuck a 10? Who doesn't want to know what it's like to fuck a model? So you've got to have an end goal to all these things. I'm not saying women is the end goal, but I'm just relating it to nofap and ejaculation, etc. But it's like, what's the point in making all this money if you're going to live in a shed? What's the point in getting in the best shape of your life if you're not going to take your top off? What's the point in raising your testosterone if you're not going to fuck? Do you see what I mean, guys? Like, all of these things are done for a reason. And as much as I say, like, commit to a certain time period in your life of like here to there. Let's go without sex from here to there. Let's do no fat from here to there. Let's not go out on nights out. Let's not date women. Let's not meet women. Let's not get married. Let's not have kids. Let's not go down the whole, you know, traditional shit route that we have in life. When you do get to the point that you want to get to, if you don't then enjoy it, what's the point in doing it in the first place? And also, watch my hand. You earned 10 grand. Checkpoint. Enjoy it. Remind yourself while you're doing this shit. Second checkpoint, 50,000. Third checkpoint, 100,000. Fourth checkpoint, 1 million. You've got to have these goals and checkpoints, and that's what NoFap can help you with. NoFap can help you get to certain levels where I used to use it as a sacrifice. So I knew when my friends' birthdays were. So my friend had a birthday, my birthday's in late August as well, but my friend had a birthday in early August. And it was like April. I want to say April. Okay, so it was like March or April. I think it was March, actually. It was late March. And I remember saying, okay, I'm not going to masturbate. I'm going to do NoFap. I'm not going to have sex. I'm not going to, I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to spend money. I'm going to dedicate myself to, at the time, MSI College. I'm going to write articles, make videos, podcasts, grow the business, whatever it takes. I'm going to drive that shit forward. Okay. So I did that all the way. Yeah, it'll be on YouTube. Don't worry. I'm sure this will be up afterwards. I'll leave it on that. Thanks, man. Enjoy your break as well. We'll speak soon. So I had this kind of goal from like March. So like April, because it was the end of March. So it's like April, May, June, July, August. So 5 months. I committed and I held myself to it to hit the gym 6 days. I had a gym in my house at the time. 6 days per week. It wasn't a great gym. I built it myself, bought all this shit. 6 days a week. Hour or two a day, to get up at 5 every morning, to do NoFap, to stay away from porn, to stay away from women, to just commit for 5 months. I achieved all of that. And the business skyrocketed. I went from like, I think it was like 10,000 traffic a month to like 15, 16,000 a month. And I was like, that's good fucking work. And the courses earned a ton of money. I think it was just before we decided to go to Toronto. And I was like, okay, I'm making good money now. Let's move on to stage 2. But instead of just doing that and driving yourself crazy, because, like that saying that they say, all work and no play makes you a dull boy. It can drive you crazy. So I knew that birthday was coming up and we were going to Cardiff, which is in Wales, place in the UK, capital city. We're having a night out. So I made an aim to spend a little bit of money on a nice suit. At the time, I had wavy hair, I got a nice haircut, shaved all around the outside, blended it up, got the beard shaped up, everything. Slept well, was training hard, and I knew that night I was like, I'm going to drink. I'm going to drink a lot and I'm going to go home with somebody, because all the lads rented, all the boys, guys, I don't know what you say in America, they all got a cheap hotel, real cheap, like 20 quid. I went and paid for one that was like 150 because I'd worked my balls off and I saved up for it. So I had like a semi-sweet penthouse type of hotel. and I brought a girl back. Like I knew I was going to do that. That was my aim, to bring a woman back. And because I was on NoFap, I was desperate to ejaculate, and that made me like the second I got out in Cardiff, I'd had like 2 drinks, and the second I got there, I was like, I'm going over. I'm talking to her. I'm talking to her. I'm talking to her. Like I had no fear because I knew that was the only way I could release. And when that moment happened, where I was like, this is the only way I can do this anymore, it made me more confident. Social anxiety gone, everything gone. It made me more confident. I was able to get out, go and go over to these women and think nothing of it. If it was rejection, I was like, what have I lost? I'm in that same boat already anyway. So I just kept going, kept going, kept going. And finally I found this one woman who was like, yeah, like, I like the way you're dressed, I like the way you look, I like your confidence, let's go home. So then I had sex with this woman, and that was my bonus. That's what I achieved. I spent on a nice outfit. I made myself look good. I had a good night with my friends. I rented a nice hotel room, like a suite. I had sex with this girl. Got up the next day. I was happy, And then maybe I take the next day off. I enjoy it. I'm like, well done to you. You accomplished everything you wanted to do. And then on the Monday, back to the grind again, guys. But this is what NoFap doesn't preach. And I wrote an article on this, and they banned me. And I've got nothing against them because I think they're great guys. I'm glad I found NoFap. They really helped me. But when you do NoFap, guys, watch out for that shit. Because it's kind of a trap where it's like, stay in the NoFap cycle. Stay in the NoFap cycle. Women are the enemy. It's like, the reason you're doing NoFap is because you couldn't get women, because you had social anxiety, because every time you had sex, you were flaccid. Now you're doing it. You're in this perfect position. Use it to your advantage. Like I said at the start, women use us all the time. You finally, like, women are finding you attractive. Use it to your advantage, but set yourself goals. So say I'm going to work for 2 or 3 months. Like, what month is it right now? Let's say, let's just say end of May, right? So end of May, you've got June, July, August. They're summer months. Most people are going to be going out, okay? Most people are going to be drinking once lockdown's over, going to be building their summer body somewhat. You could make a commitment to yourself to grind for the whole of June, for the whole of July, or the rest of May, the whole of June, the whole of July. You can make a commitment to yourself to grind for these 2.5 months. And then in August, in the UK, we have a bank holiday at the end of August, about 4 days. You could enjoy yourself on those days. I don't know what it is in America, but you could set yourself a weekend at the end of August to go and enjoy yourself and do this. Then you get back to the grind. Now it's September, October, November, December, cold months. You might as well stay in. You might as well grind. You might as well work on something. You might as well commit to your gym shit. That's 4 months that's giving you all this time where it's cold, it's wet, it's drizzly for most places, unless you live in like LA or somewhere, where you can commit to something else. You can commit to your business. You can commit to studying 10 different subjects in that time. You can become an expert at this skill, that skill. You can do relentless orthotropics, which I'll touch on in a minute. I forgot about that. You can you can work on different things. You can say, okay, my aim with NoFap is to do 4 months. Then you're going to get to Christmas and New Year, where everyone's got time off. You might have saved up a ton of money. New Year, guys. New Year. Everyone's buzzing on New Year. You could book a hotel somewhere. You could travel somewhere. You could aim to sleep with a woman that night, make yourself look fantastic. You've been training, you've been sleeping well, skin's looking good. Get a fresh haircut, beard trim, whatever it might be, thread in here. Everything that modern men are doing now. Fresh new outfit. Book a nice hotel room, and you're like, okay, I'm sleeping with a woman tonight. I'm going to approach as many as possible. Fuck rejection, because it's been 4 months without sex or masturbation or porn. I feel confident. Social anxiety is gone. That's your reward. And if you do this throughout your life, obviously you'll get to a point where you're so successful you don't need to. You've got women coming at you left, right, and center. That's probably the end goal for all of us, right? Where we don't even need to worry about it, and it just happens. But leading up to that, that's half the fun, is to say, okay, I've got this woman who's a 4, who's a 6, who's a 7, who want to fuck me right now. I want to fuck a 9 and a 10. I'm going to commit to this 4-month agonizing but committed, grueling system of 4 months of work, business, make as much money as possible, get in great shape, grind on these 4 or 5 areas, orthotropics, whatever it may be. Get rid of this bad habit, introduce this good habit. Then it comes around, like we said, New Year, for an example, end of August. Based on what your life does or where you are in your life, you might have a holiday booked for, I don't know, you might be traveling to, let's say, Sweden in April. That could be your aim. You could have a lad's holiday booked for July. That could be your aim. But just make these committed aims where you test yourself to get to that point. There's nothing wrong with that, guys. But the no-fap kind of industry, as great as it is, it keeps you in this bubble where it's like you have to keep doing no-fap, and women are bad. Porn and masturbation are bad, but it kind of then tails over to where people start hating women and saying women are bad. Like, women are the greatest motivation we have as men. Use them, especially if you like materialistic shit or you like women. Like, find what your motivation is. And I made a video on this years ago, an article on this years ago. Find what your personal motivation is. Your personal motivation might be financial freedom. Your personal motivation might be Lamborghinis, cars, whatever. It might be a big house that you own, like a mortgage, like the house completely paid off, sorry. Your commitment might be having the best body, your motivation might be having the best body ever, or it might be the sexiest woman you've ever fucking seen in your life in your bed. Use that to your advantage. Use it, guys. If you're feeling demotivated, like, just drop into a strip club. Just see some of the beautiful women in there and just be like, wow, that's what I'm fucking aiming for. You know, just have one drink, have a dance, pop out. You know, it is what it is. Gonna go grind now. Go ahead, man. Go and grind. Go and do what you need to do. Find your motivation. Okay, I'm going to talk about orthotropics now. Now, what I did is I chewed like crazy. I chewed like mad, and I built up these giant fucking jaw muscles. But what I wasn't doing is I wasn't pushing. Sorry, I was reading the comments. Okay, I'm going to touch on that first because I know I remember the other one. How do you know if an opportunity is worth pursuing? You don't. And that's the craziness of being an entrepreneur. And this is why, like, in the early days, I said everybody should be an entrepreneur. I got older, I've realized other shit. I think everybody should spend time in a business, in a normal 9-to-5 job, in a company, to understand. Who the fuck is that on our stream? Did everyone see that? Some cam girl. I bet this streamer plays with himself a lot. Yes, I do. Not really. So in terms of becoming successful and knowing if it's the right idea, I think everybody should join a company. If it's to learn what not to do in a company, if it's learn what is good to do in a company. Because I've been in companies in the past where the culture, the company culture, the meals out, you know, the boss paying for the drinks or motivating staff or giving a speech or paying for courses has been fantastic. But then I've been in other companies where I've seen what not to do. Now, that's why I think it's good to be in a 9-to-5 job for a couple of years, 1 or 2 years. DM me after the stream. Probably like 2 years old. Get the fuck out of it. So, oh my God. Is there any way to stop people being on the stream? We're talking about NoFap and we got fucking chatbots in here, cam girls in here. Yeah, but everybody should do that. Everybody should join a kind of organization and see what to do, what not to do, learn from the bosses. You got to think, right, guys, any 9-to-5 job, whoever runs that business, whoever runs that company, and try and join small startups. That's what I'd recommend. Troll, yeah, I know, man. Try and join small startups, because a small startup will always have a boss who is able to talk to you whenever you want at a close distance, and you can monitor them. So if you join like a Google, Microsoft, whatever, you're not going to be able to see what's going on a daily basis from the bosses, etc. See you, J2 Day. I don't know how you say your name properly, but I think that's it. No worries, mate. You're a great guy. You always comment, great comments. Thank you, man. Best of luck with everything. But yeah, you get to see that boss in real time. You get to talk to them every single day. They get to teach you. And anybody who's managed to do a startup and, you know, this is what people forget, right? If you hire staff and you pay pensions and etc., and you keep care of your staff, you've got all the equipment in the office, you're paying rent in the office, you must be making a decent amount of money every single day. You have to be. So that person is somebody you can learn from. That's somebody you can mentor from, and they can show you either how to run a business properly or how not to run a business. Okay, so I had bosses like that in the past that were able to show me, you know, this is the right way to run a business, here's the wrong way to run a business. So when you learn that from people, when you start your own company, you know you're doing it the right way. But in order to answer your question, because this is why you need the experience first, because they say something like 37% of people who start a business in an industry that they've already worked a 9 to 5 job in are more likely to succeed. So I would say get a 9 to 5 job in the industry that you want to start in. If you love it, start a business in it. If you don't, forget about it. Move on, guys. But it's a great test without risking all your cash, your money, whatever. You can still work on it on the side on a small scale. But the short answer is you don't. And in order to be a successful entrepreneur, and that's why you need to do a 9 to 5 job first, you need to be a little bit tapped. Like anybody who does these kind of entrepreneurial dreams like myself, we're all a little bit crazy. Conor McGregor said the same thing. You've got to be a little bit crazy, a little bit tapped, a little bit nuts in order to accomplish these kind of dreams, in order to set out to... When there's no sign of success, there's no sign of anything going right, there's no sign of, what you envision coming true, you need to go and work every day as if you're already a millionaire and you're super motivated. And I think it was Winston Churchill said something along the lines of, success is moving from one failure to the next without loss of motivation. I thought I'd forget that then. And that's the same with business. Like any business you start, you don't know how it's going to go. I can tell you, most people think business is going to do this. Success. But it's going to do this. It's going to go back. It's going to go forward. You're going to think you made it. It's going to come back. Finally, you're going to succeed. Maybe, like I said, there's a statistic which says that the average business takes 12 years to become successful, the average startup. And the average startup owner is like 43 years old. So that's a ton of life experience, work experience. It's not easy, guys. Business isn't easy. Like today I've had this sucky shit where they're trying to suppress my testosterone stuff, my men's shit. Like I'm trying to fight for men's rights and they're suppressing my traffic. Google are trying to knock me down the rankings. I started at like number 1 this morning. They've knocked me down to like number 3 and 4 in a whole different areas. Like, but it's the fight. Like it is what it is. You don't know who your enemies are going to be. You don't know. Like I've wanted to give up 100 times, but you just don't. You just keep going. My business got deleted once. I had to start again from fresh. But had I been 40, 50 years old, I might have just said, fuck it, I give up. But I don't think I ever would. Sometimes it's just in you. You just have to be a little bit tapped, like I said in here, to go, nobody else sees it. Nobody else knows what I'm trying to achieve. It doesn't even exist yet. There's no physical evidence of what I'm trying to do. It kind of sounds crazy that I'm pitching this vision, but I'm just going to walk blindly, step by step, one after the other, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. And before you know where you are, shit takes off. You just get a random spurt of luck. Like the same thing happened with MSI College. Is I thought, fuck, like I'm broke, I'm working on this, I'm in, a room in my mum's house and she's shouting at me to get a job. And then out of nowhere, a couple interviews just boom the traffic, my courses start selling, traffic goes up so high that I started pitching to brands, look, we're getting like 100,000 traffic per month of unique users. Do you want to put a sponsor on our website? £250, not a lot. And I was getting like 10 every single week coming back and saying, yeah. Before I knew where I was earning like 8,000 a month and we were living in Toronto. I was living the good life. And it happened like that, guys. It happens overnight. But in terms of success in business, you don't know. That's the thing. You are stepping blindly into the unknown, but nothing good ever gets achieved from doing the stuff that's been done before. So you kind of have to do something unknown to get paid of a high level. I think it was Elon Musk said you get paid in life based on the severity of the problems that you solve. Now, if you go and try and, if you want, there's nothing wrong with this. My mum used to clean floors, but if you want to clean floors for a living, it's the Vrin school. Ty Lopez talks about this before, the Vrin school. If you want to, I'll get to it in a second. If you want to clean floors for a living, it's pretty easy to do, right? Some people are obviously better than others, but it's pretty easy to do. So you're not going to get paid that great. If you go and solve global warming, if it's real, who knows, you're going to be super successful. If you solve the whole electric car, Tesla, what Elon Musk is doing, he's going to get paid a ton. If you can get to Mars and start a colony and terraform it, you'll be a trillionaire, okay? Yeah, I do interviews and podcasts. Any shows, I'll go on any of them. I don't care about the audience. I like to get out there, man. I like to practice what I preach. So send me a message, I'll feature on it. Any topic, I'm pretty diverse. But in terms of you get paid on the severity of the problems that you solve. Vrin School, Ty Lopez taught me this about 6 years ago. Now it stands for, I think I remember, value, rarity, anonymity, and non-substitutional. So value stands for how much value you provide to that company, that organization, that position. So the examples he always used is McDonald's. Yeah, I'll leave this on here. I'm sure I'm sure this will stay on there. I'm sure I'm pretty sure because it happened when I went to the COD thing. This will just stay up. Once I end this will stay up. I'll probably end it in like 15 minutes because I think that's probably enough. I might try and do these weekly because they're kind of fun, man. I get to interact with you guys. It's awesome. But the value, he always used McDonald's as an example. And he said the value that you're providing as a McDonald's worker, although it's an admirable job, any job is an admirable job, but as a McDonald's worker, you're just serving burgers. People could cook that at home. They could probably make their own. You're not. The exchange to that is something like LeBron James. What value is LeBron James providing? Well, he's providing millions of kids and fans everywhere with dunks, with 3-pointers, with passes that are unbelievable, with highlight videos for ESPN, shirt sales for the company, all this shit that goes with it. Nike are sponsoring him. He's featuring in the new Space Jam. That's a ton of value. So the next one is rarity. So touching on that. So McDonald's. How many workers have worked at McDonald's over the years? Probably millions, right? And there'll be millions more unless it crashes, which I can't believe it will. Whereas something like LeBron James, how many LeBrons are there every 20, 30 years? One. Probably one, maybe two. Zion's got a chance. I'm not really a big basketball fan. I watch it, but, you have like Michael Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, maybe Zion. It's like every 10, 15, 20 years, some superstar comes along. So their rarity is a 10. And you do each 1 out of 10. So McDonald's worker in terms of value, maybe like a 1 or 2. Depends how hungry you are really. LeBron James value, 10. Rarity, McDonald's, 1. Anybody can make a burger. Rarity, LeBron James, 10. Like we said, there's only like 4 of him that come along every 100 years. Then you move to anonymity, which is how long it takes to learn that skill set that you have. Now, anonymity would be for the McDonald's worker. They could get fired that day. Somebody else could come in. They could get trained. And by the evening, they have the same skill set as that person before. And that's no offense to McDonald's workers. I've worked in pizza places, but they're quite low-skilled jobs where you can learn stuff very quickly on the job. So the anonymity score for the McDonald's worker would be a 1. Had you learned LeBron James' skill set, you might not even ever have the chance because he's just of an elite level. Sometimes it's God-given, genetics, whatever it may be. He's learned 50,000 hours of basketball. It's hard to get there. He's a 10. Then you've got to think of the N, which on the Vrin score is non-substitutional. So like we said, McDonald's worker, you could get fired in the morning. Somebody else could be in the afternoon doing exactly what you do. No difference. Company doesn't get affected. LeBron James, God forbid, goes down the Kobe route, helicopter crash or something, rest in peace. It's very hard for them to be like, okay, let's just bring another player in. It's fine. LeBron's gone. Another player comes in. It's nigh on impossible. You'd have to have somebody like a 27-year-old Zion ready and waiting, ready to go. Or a Kevin Durant, like perfectly in position at the right age, ready to replace him. So he is currently non-substitutional. So LeBron's score is a 10. And Ty Lopez always said, based on the Vrin score, if you out of 40, if you add up your Vrin score out of 40, this will tell you how much money you're going to earn and where you sit in life. So like I was saying, in terms of a business, you've got to think, like I said, the severity of the problems that you solve will determine how much money you earn. Now, if you're running a certain company and you look at it, I've always said this, the most money gets earned in business right at the start from positioning. You've got to position yourself in the right place. So if you start a cake business, a local cake business, and you're just selling them out of a local shop, chances of you becoming Kipling or some multi-billionaire is rare. Now, if you start a company that does intercity landscaping, because obviously we're going to have the Hyperloop, roads might not be needed anymore. It's one of my long-term aims. I think it's going to be $1 trillion business. All these roads are going to get ripped up and people are going to want intercity landscaping where you're building plazas where roads used to be, so there's no cars, but people can enjoy family days out and stuff. If you position yourself in that industry, yeah, your Vrin score is going to be a 10 in every single area, and you're going to give yourself more of an opportunity to make money. So as much as I said, when you start a business, you don't know, The best part, guys, is positioning. So if you start a barbershop, a hairdresser's barbershop, whatever it might be, you're limited by economies of scale. So you can only cut so many people's hair. Same with a personal trainer. You can only train or cut people's hair in a certain time frame. So you might have 12 hours a day where you're willing to work because you've got to pick up your kids or you're tired, or we can only work so many hours, right? So you might even work 16 hours a day. You can only earn money for those 16 hours until you hire somebody else. So you hire somebody else, economies of scale, they might not be as good as you. It might affect your reputation of your business. So in that industry, how do I know I'm going to succeed? That's quite uncertain, okay? Being like a personal trainer is tough unless you train the stars, but then your prices have to go up a lot. Being a barber, hairdresser, whatever it might be, that's tough because of economies of scale, and you're limited by the number of hours that you have in a certain day. But if you start a business that might bring in residual income, or you can land like government contracts, like I said, like an intercity landscaping, the next big one is going to be huge. A lot of years off yet, but it's like asteroid mining, because they reckon there's so many materials or elements. I get a lazy eye there when I'm tired, that's why I keep wiping it. It's horrible. But they reckon that they can mine the asteroids and get a ton of materials and metals, etc., and they're going to be worth trillions. So, certain industries like that, if you align yourself in those industries and the severity of the problems that you solve are greater, then you have more of a chance of making money. So in that sense, then you can guess that if you accomplish this, the risk is higher, but if it pays off, you're going to make more money. The risk is lower. If it pays off, not going to make as much. It's just like trading. It's exactly the same as anything in life. The bigger the risk, if it pays off, the better the reward is. So that's how you find that out, guys. But just before I end, if anybody's got any more questions, throw them in, because I'm happy to answer them quickly. But before I end, looks like I'm talking into the mic. I want to touch on businesses, being self-employed, because a lot of people forget this, and a lot of people commented on this on my last video. When you start your business, guys, watch out, because a lot of people say, I'm self-employed, but they're governed by their clients. So let's say you start a marketing company, and the first thing you need to do, you sit around with your staff, you say, what are we going to do? We need clients. Are you really self-employed? Because as soon as you get those clients and they start paying you 2, 3, 4, 5,000 per month, right? You're now at their mercy. So if you fuck up, or you do a bad job, or you make a change that they don't like, or you produce a piece of video content or an article that they don't like, they're able to stop that. They're able to say, do you know what? Fuck you. We don't like that. Change it. Do you know what that's called, guys? It's called a boss. That's called lack of freedom. That's called somebody managing you. They're micromanaging you. They're paying you $10,000 a month. They're paying you a £2,000 retainer on top of that. They want to know where their fucking money's going. If you mess up, they're going to be like, you're gone, iced, you're out, we're taking our money back. That's when being self-employed, having your own business, becomes boring. It becomes a stressor. And that's why people say things like money doesn't make you happy, because money makes you really fucking happy, but it depends what industry you're in. I made a video on this before on YouTube. It depends what business you're in. What you got to do, you have independence, you got to be free. So this happens a lot in the music industry. People are artists, they make their own videos, they make their own music, etc., but then they pay Sony Records like 70% royalties off the back of that, and they fund everything they do. They're not free. You still have a boss. You've signed a contract for like 4 albums. They're pressuring you to make it. It's not the same. And when you run your business, guys, like I said, positioning at the start is key. The best decision you'll ever make in your business is what business you start. So what industry you want to be in? Where do you want to position yourself? What do you want to do? And like I said, with the Vrin School, that matters on a personal level with you and your skill set, but your business too. But then on the other side of the coin, like I just mentioned there, guys, sorry, I keep losing my train of thought. Like I just mentioned with, it's hard when you've been talking for like an hour and a half. But yeah, like I just mentioned, with the running your own company, you've got to be careful, because if you start like a marketing company or SEO company, that's what a lot of people did, marketing, social media company. A lot of people did this off the back of what Ty Lopez said. And a lot of people did this and got clients, but then they were at the mercy of those clients and their payments. So when you start your business, worry about the Vrin School, your personal Vrin School, the business, but then also worry about the industry and the nature of your business. So with 1STMAN, I make video projects and I say to companies, or I'm going to in the future, but I've said to them already so far, I've had messages from people saying, can you make a video on this? We'll give you 5 grand and we want this type of video to be made. And I'm like, no, like I'm not doing that. This is my company. You don't tell me what to do. You don't tell me what video to make. You don't tell me how to put this together. And then when I've done it, you don't tell me if it's good or bad, because that's not fun for me. So what I want to do is I want to make videos, and then when it becomes when I've got the video there, I see that as a product. That video is a product. Like, content in this era, guys, is a product. People are forgetting this a lot. You make a video project or a documentary, you've put time and money into this. That's a product. So then I sell that product to brands and relevant brands. And I'll say, this is a video product on a football documentary, football feature, which is one I'm going to do soon, or testosterone or whatever. You're a relevant company. You can have a 5-second ad at the start and end. We're not changing it. You can decide. We're not changing the video. You just get a 5-second ad at the start and end. Yes, we're in. Money, great, thanks, bang. Put the advert in, start and end, send it out there. You know, and then that way you don't have a boss. You're happy. Other people are at the mercy of you. And this is what people forget about business. You got to be your own boss. You can't be at the mercy of suppliers, or you can't be at the mercy of your clients. And, oh, I've just lost a client today. Fuck, you know, I can't pay my rent. You can't have that, guys. So make sure when you position yourself, you have the Vrin score on a personal level, where you have a certain skill set which makes you valuable, so people want to use you. And you have a knowledge base, like, for example, an hour-and-a-half conversation that people want to listen to from research that you've done before. All learning is good learning. Then you have a Vrin score for your own business or whatever you're doing, which says that we're valuable. You have to use us over everyone else because we do this, this, and this, and nobody else does. And then you've got to have the other point where you can't be at the mercy of other people. That is ultimate freedom. That's ultimate success. And that is when you can make the most money of your life, because too many cooks spoil the broth. And if you're the only one running it and there's no shareholders, there's no investment, you know, if you're a little bit more patient, because don't get me wrong, guys, I've wanted to seek investment when my business got deleted. I want to seek it now. I want to fund this streaming platform and be as big as Netflix. If I'm patient, if I take even 10 years on this shit and I'm 37, it could be $1 billion company and it's all in my name, 100%. And you got to do those sort of things, guys. You got to make those sort of commitments. You can't give in and say, okay, I'm going to get clients to just give me 10,000 up front, 20,000 up front. You know, you can make more money than me in a short term, but I guarantee you over 10, 20, 30, 40 years, I'll be stuck at the top. I'll make the most money, because what I build is I build brand, I build longevity. I'm in this for the long run. I've got patience. I always have done. I'm not worried about what people think, what people say, and you guys need to do the same. Just build your skill set up now, plan for the future, build a business for the future, lose money in the short term, lost leaders, etc. Keep growing, guys. Keep planning for the future. But I'm going to sign off now because I'm pretty tired. But if anybody's got any final questions, just fire them in. I'll see what I can do quickly. I'll leave it for like another 2 minutes. If not, I'm going to sign off at like 1:35. But I'll wait for a bit, guys. But thank you to everybody who's come on. I know not everyone's still left on here, but thank you to everybody. I know it's a long chat. I just randomly did this. I actually just recorded 3 new videos. So I'll be putting them out probably tomorrow, calling them. I'm going to do a ton of new content for the streaming platform. I don't know if I can show you that yet. But streaming platform is coming soon. We're putting that together. We're building it. I want to get a ton of content. Jack Spring, the director who came on the podcast, he's letting me have his content. I think if the film companies allow him to, Travel Bum is letting me have his content. He's a pickup artist, one of the best ever, one of the best in the world ever. He's unbelievable. Slept with some unbelievable women. Blake Scott, he and his. Lou, what do you mean by got ghosted? Okay, so you got ghosted by a girl? Yeah, Travel Bum's the man. He's awesome. He's going to be on the platform anyway. He signed the contract. Blake Scott has. He's going to give fashion advice. my friend Nathan, who's got a podcast, who gets some big names on there, people with millions of followers. He's going to give all the content up to the streaming platform. So we're going to have unique content on there and everything else. So it's going to be super cool. I'm going to try and land Jordan Peele because he's been banned everywhere. Jordan Peele, what I'm on about. I'm talking to my girlfriend too much. She loves his films. Jordan Peterson, I'm going to try and get his film on there because it's been banned. Get a load of other shit on there and then film unique content. I'm going to throw a good maybe 50,000 at this to begin with. Thank you, Lou. Travel bum's the man, I know. Yeah, she's not responding after 3 years. Move on, man. Move on. You're better than that. How old are you, Lou? Comment. I'm tired, man. 34. Lou, the male peak is 36, 37. Don't worry about it, man. Like I said, you can change your... I've actually made a video on it. It's coming out soon. You can change your life in 4 months. I used to say it was 3 months. I've changed it to 4. Gives you a bit more time. 4 months, you can change your life and be a completely unrecognizable man to who you used to be. Your male peak is at 37, and if you treat it correctly and you stay in shape, that lasts until you're like 60 years old, 59 years old, whatever. Maybe 50, you know, if you want to be super sexy. Yeah, grow your business, man. Like, do everything you want to do. Like, get in shape, grow your business, commit. Like, now you're tie-free. Like, you've been without this girl for a while now. She won't get back to you. That's great. Move on. Go and find somebody better. Commit to yourself. Do orthotropic. Like, on this video that I've made, this guy found that it took like 10,000 hours. We've all seen the 10,000 hour rule to become an expert. But it takes like 20 hours to become competent at things. And it also takes around about 20 days or 21 days to learn a habit and get rid of a habit. Now, if you do an hour a day of the learning, that's around about 20 days. So it's the same sort of cycle. So it's like 20 days can solve a shit ton of things. So over 4 months, you've got the opportunity to change 6 things, to get rid of 6 things and introduce 6 things, and, you know, form all these new habits. So over the period of 4 months, with the video I made, it will be more conclusive when I bring it out. You've got all this power and all this time to maybe do something like orthotropics, quit, I don't know, drinking, go to the gym, start morning runs, quit smoking. I don't know what you do, but you can make it specific to your own life. And you can get rid of like 6 things that you can do every 20 days. You can introduce 6 things every 20 days. And then if you train an hour a day or learn a new skill every hour a day, after 20 days, like this guy said on the TEDx talk, you become competent at that skill. So you can learn 6 new things. You can get rid of 6 shit things from your life. You can introduce 6 great things. Like, that's just a 4-month period. And like you said, you're 34. 37 is the male peak. Like, you've got 3 years of that 4-month kind of process that you could, I guarantee you, from 34 to 37, if you really committed, you can be a completely different guy to who you are today. And that girl that wouldn't contact you, I've got a quote for you. I might fuck this up because I haven't said it for a while. But don't chase what you want. Work on yourself until what you want chases you. It's sort of along those lines that you can chase things all your life, but if you start to grow, you start to build, you start to elevate yourself and your social value and everything that you've achieved gets to the top level, you'll find that the things that you wanted start coming to you, and that includes women. And here's the irony, guys, is that the girls that you wanted when you were down there, when you rise up there and they want you, you won't want them anymore. So Lou, that girl that wanted you, that girl that you want, that hasn't contacted you for 3 years, by the time you're 37, if you work like fuck on yourself and you get to a certain level, by the time she wants you again or she contacts you out of the blue, because it always fucking happens, I promise you, you won't want her. I guarantee you, buddy, you won't want her by then. And this is a good thing. So just always look above, always rise above. And like I said before, 30 is actually 12 years old, because we're not fucking conscious until we're like 18 years old. We don't know what's going on, and even then we're dumbasses. So Lou, you're like 16 years old, man. You're 16 years old. The TEDx talk, it was, I'll find it. The video that I'm releasing that is on that exact topic, I'm going to put it in the bio, so I'll find it. I can't remember what it was, but it was about learning new skills. It was about learning new skills and advancing. Learning stuff quicker. I'll try and find it. I'll put it in the bio of, if this video ends up staying on here, uploads and it stays on there, I'll put it in. If it doesn't, it'll be on the other video. You'll know which one it is. It'll have a specific title, but I won't let you guys down. There was one other comment on here. Somebody talked about something. Books. Quite hard to remember this shit after 3 Southern Comforts and no sleep. Books that I'd recommend. One that always sticks in my mind is Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. The one thing that I always remember from that book is that we become kind of replicas of our parents, grandparents, whoever we're around, right? So if our parents earned like 50,000 a year, they had 2 kids, and they lived in a house in this little area, a lot of people end up becoming clones of their parents. And he found this pattern one after the other. And it was either like you either become a game changer or a breeder. This is something I've always said, is you either just have kids and just live the same life, and then you kind of live for them. And now it's like, okay, I fucked up a little bit. I didn't get to where I wanted to. I'm rolling the dice on you now, and I'm going to make sure you had a better life than I did. Or you're a game changer. So your family's been poor for generations. You're the game changer, and you just fuck shit up. And you just say, okay, I'm going to earn 20, 30 million. And you're the game changer. It comes along once every, like, I don't know, 1,000 years for different families, but somebody always comes in, steps in, and changes the absolute game. And that's what that book by T. Harv Eker reminded me of. And it's a lot of it is mindset. And the Wolf of Wall Street always said, which was in this book as well, that everybody has a ceiling and everyone has a floor. So your floor might be the minimum that you can earn a year to survive. So your floor might be 25,000 a year, and your ceiling might be 100,000. That's the most that you can see yourself earning. You need to raise that floor, and you need to raise that ceiling, and you need to see yourself as bigger than you are. Because a lot of people see what their parents earn. They grew up in a small town like myself, 45,000 people, not a lot, where when I wanted to make money, start a business, everyone said, why bother? Get a job, get married, get a house. So it's easy to fall into that pattern of everybody around me is earning 30,000 a year. So 40,000 a year is big money. There's videos. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think based off what YouTube do, I think when this stream stops, it stays on here and it can be repeated anytime. I think it did that with when I went to the Call of Duty event, so I think it's going to be on here. I hope anyway. It'd be shit if I lost all of this, like nearly 2 hours, man. It's like a Avengers film. But yeah, a lot of people see the people around them. They're like, okay, they're earning 30, 40,000 a year. If I earn 50, I'm a champion. I'm at the top of that group. But it's small fish in a small pond kind of life. Now, that's fine if that's what you want. That's your ambition. But you need, like I said, you need to raise that floor to, okay, the minimum I can earn in a year to be happy is 100 grand. The ceiling that I can see myself earning is currently, like 100 grand. I need to raise that. I need to be around more successful people. I need to spend, like I said at the start, guys, that £1,000, go to Paris, be with a woman, rent a penthouse, rent a car, drive through, like live that lavish lifestyle for one day. Suddenly your ceiling goes, boop, it goes up in the air. Or you get a mentor who earns a stupid amount of money. I talked about this in the 4 exposures. The 4 exposures of life. I don't know if I can remember them off the top of my head. I can always remember 3, I always forget 1. But it was quality exposure, so you can see what sort of level that you need to be at in order to be at industry standards. It was a work rate exposure, to see what kind of effort you need to put in, like how many hours a day are top level people working. Are they doing 18 hours with 2 or 3 hours of sleep? You need to see that. There needs to be a spending, like a kind of success, kind of wealth exposure, that's what I'd say. Where I had this, the guy who ran Our Light Girls Daily, who was my mentor, Martin, we went to Paris and I saw him get like €1,000 out of his pocket and just hand it to the bouncer to let us in. Because it was a private party. He just got €1,000 out and went, bang, thank you, gone. We woke up in the morning. We had a flight at I think it was 10 a.m. in the morning. We were so drunk. We were so hungover. We couldn't make it. So I tapped him on the shoulder. I was like, look, we got like an hour till this flight. What are we going to do? And my voice is gone. And he said, he was so drunk, he was just lead flat on his face, and he was just like, I'll book another one, whatever. So he just lost like £1,000 there and then. He was whatever. And I'm not saying that's the kind of traits you need to have, but that was an exposure that made me go, oh, fuck, what I used to think was big money is now nothing. It doesn't mean a lot. I need to up my ceiling. So the more you raise it, the more you believe is achievable. And I don't like the whole, if you believe it, you can achieve it. I think it's quite corny in this era. People use it as a cheap, like, sales tactic. But you know, if you're confident you're going to get to that level, it's a lot easier to get there than if you keep doubting yourself. You're more likely to give up. You're more likely to quit. You're less likely to like put the camera on right now and make a 2-hour video because you're like, well, what will people think of me? So if you've got a higher ceiling, you're more likely to do things on a grander scale. And like I said before, you're more likely to go ahead, put that quote in there, man. You're more likely to accomplish goals that have a higher severity. Like I mentioned earlier, you get paid based on the severity of the problems that you solve, or the difficulty of the problems that you solve. And the more confident you are, the more of a dreamer you are, the higher you're going to dream. That ceiling, that floor, you know, you need to push that up. You need to dream bigger. And that's what that book by T. Harv Eker taught me. And that blew my mind. Blew my mind. Everyone's got to read that book. The other thing, see if I can mention 3, but the other thing is the One Thing by Gary Keller. And I think you'll all agree, we're all busy. We live in a society now where everything's busy, everybody's busy, I'm busy, you're busy, our mums are busy, you know, everything's crazy. But people are busy doing nothing. You have to break your vow to mediocrity. Yeah, you do, man. You do. Everybody's born into this shit culture now where it's like, just be normal. Be normal. Get married. Why do you want normal? It's weird. But everyone's busy doing shit. I know a lot of people that run businesses that don't do fuck all in terms of productivity every day. So they're busy, they have a task list as long as a giraffe's neck, but they're not doing anything every single day. They're not accomplishing anything. Now, Gary Keller was in real estate, still is, billionaire from real estate today, but he started in a real estate firm. What he did is he made sure that he was the best at one thing. And the one thing was getting properties listed for that company. So, you know, when you go and find somebody who wants to sell their house and you say, okay, look, you list it with us and we'll sell it for you. He became the best in the world, probably best in the world at the time. He made a ton of money doing it, at doing that one thing. So selling, somebody else will do that. You know, paperwork, somebody else will do that. I'll be fucking fantastic at finding houses, listing them on the property market for my company. Next one. Became fantastic at that. And he did that one thing so well that he became, Vrinscore again, he became so valuable and indispensable to that organization that they had to pay him a lot more. And then as he started to make money, obviously he, you know, started his own firm, etc. But he preaches the one thing, and the whole purpose of the book, you might not even need to read it, but it's worth reading, is he always asks, what is the one thing that you can do each day that is going to progress you further than anything else? And yeah, you could start the day, like I said, with a task list as long as a giraffe's neck, and you could say, oh, I've ticked 21 boxes today. I worked my, you know, that hustle grind life. Look at my task list, 21 things done today. It's like, I had a 20-hour day, 4 hours sleep. It's like, yeah, but what did you do? Did you do anything productive? Did you accomplish anything? Are you in a better place tomorrow than you were today? Go ask yourself that question, guys. And if you can write down the one thing that's gonna, he became a linchpin. There's a book called Linchpin as well. Can't remember who it's by. But yeah, if you can do that one thing every single day, I think it's Seth Godin made a book called Linchpin, I think. Fact check me on that, guys. I'm quite good with books. I read like 2000, I think. But if you can do that one thing each day that moves you forward, because we all have limited time, especially if you've got a 9-to-5 job. You know, it's a 9-to-5 job. You have to get up at like, Seth Godin, thank you. You have to get up at like 5 in the morning. You have to be at that job for like 8, 9 o'clock. By the time you get home and you travel, it's like 8 at night. You've got to cook. You've got to take care of other shit, cook for the next day, do what you need to do, tidy up, house chores, see the girlfriend, whatever it might be. You know, you might have an hour each day. So what's that one thing that 1 hour you can use most productively? And a lot of people get it wrong. I'll be honest, most people get it wrong. Most people are busy doing nothing. Most people are just frantic. Sometimes it's better to sit down, write notes and be like, let's just clear my head. What do I not need? If something's been on your task list for 2-3 days, cross it off, forget about it. It can't be that important. Find that one thing that's going to be a game changer for you or your company. Do that every single day. Do that first. Like the book, Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. He made let's mention that book. He made a book called Eat That Frog, which is obviously if somebody said to you, the whole moral of the book, if you had to eat a frog, you'd want to do that, you know, people would put it off. You'd want to do that last in your day. So you'd wake up and you'd say, I want to eat breakfast first. I'll do it later. Okay. It gets to about midday and you're like, oh, I don't want to do that yet. That's good, man. I see you're making that sacrifice. If you're doing that, you're saving money. That's cool, man. I've thought about doing that a few times. Even the more money I earn, the more I'm like, should I just move in with my mum? Should I just be a millionaire that lives at home with my mum? Thank you, man. I appreciate it. But eat that frog. Like you get up in the morning, you don't want to do it, so you put it off. It gets to midday, you don't want to do it, you put it off. It gets to night time, you're like, I'll do it later. I'll eat this first. I'll do this first. I've got to meet my friend. I'll do it later. He said the best thing to do, if you got to eat that frog, do it first fucking thing in the morning. Get it over and done with. And it's the same with business. What's the one thing, or success, or whatever you're trying to achieve? Gym, first thing in the morning. If you want to get in shape. What's the one thing that can move me forward in life? I need to do that first thing. That's the one thing. Let's make sure while I've got my energy, motivation, commitment, drive, whatever it might be, willpower, tick that box first. If that's the only time you get that day, it was used wisely. Because willpower is like a battery. I read another book on that as well. I can't remember what it's called now. I forget a lot of these books. But willpower was like a battery where food stores it up, but the further you go out throughout the day, it starts to drop down. So we've got to do stuff early in the morning. That's why people say, sorry, let me just read this because they go quite quick. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, everyone seems to think they're busy, man. Everyone seems to think they're busy. But if you look at somebody's actual day, I guarantee there's like 20 minutes where they're masturbating, where 40 minutes where they couldn't be bothered to get out of bed, where they hit snooze. Like, we've all got time. We're back. It was reconnecting. But yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much everything. We've nearly hit 2 hours. That's quite a lot of stuff that we've covered. If you really wanted something answered, drop it in the comments now. I said I was going to end it earlier, but I haven't. I'll give it 9 minutes till 2 hours. If you want one more thing answered, I'll answer it, or any more books discussed or whatever. I'll try and think of some shit. But yeah, I think I'm going to get some sleep. What time is it? I think it's like 1. I don't even know. I'll wait for a bit. But I hope everyone's enjoyed it, guys. This is something a little bit different. I've enjoyed this. It's been fun interacting with people. We've had like 7 to 10 people on every like 10 minutes. So I think managed to contact a good like 200-300 people. That's pretty good. I know I'm shadow banned. I'm shadow banned on every platform. I know it because I keep talking about testosterone, masculinity, etc. So it's going to be a slow one, guys, and I'm going to need your help. I'm going to need you to share shit, recommend to your friends if you find it valuable. I'm never going to ask for your money until the streaming platform comes out. But there's only going to be £3 a month, and the amount of value, like, I'm going to inject hundreds of thousands, eventually, if not millions, into that. So £3 is nothing. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it, man. I hope it helps everybody. I hope it helps you. I hope it helps everyone. But if you guys can pass it on, share it. If you can share it on Reddit, that'd be fantastic, because I've shared so much of my own shit on Reddit that they've started to get suspicious, and I have to keep creating new accounts. So if you can share anything, that'd be great, because I think Reddit is slowly becoming more social justice warrior, but there's still some good communities on there. MGTOW got banned. All these communities getting banned. I know incels got banned a long time ago, which I don't know. I think incels can be helped, man. Everyone goes crazy at them. I think they can be helped. They're good guys at the core. They just had a bad experience. They didn't have a channel like this, and GQ's telling them to wear a nice £400 shirt and you'll get pussy. It's the wrong information to give them, man. Everything comes from the foundation, the core. You need to build it from the ground up. But I don't know. But all these communities are being iced off. You talk about testosterone on Facebook, they ban you. I don't know what YouTube's like. It seems like I'm shadow banned because there's a lot of people getting some shit views. Yeah, there's a lot of mentors, man. I've always been honest with you guys. When my business got deleted and I was broke, I said I was broke. I said the business got deleted, all my money went. 4-month transformation, McGregor. Are you talking about the body language? Oh, you bought the PDF. Thank you, man. I think I've taken them off the website now. I really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it. Honestly, anybody spends their hard-earned cash on anything that I do, I appreciate it massively, man. You don't have to do it. It's your money. You can spend it for whatever you want. So to spend it on our business is incredible, man. And I hope you guys know that every single penny gets reinvested. I'm not really one for the lavish lifestyle yet. I'm too young. I'm still committing everything that I have into it. I want to build this stream platform because my danger is, and I was speaking to Steve about this earlier. That's why. Thank you, Lou. I'll go to sleep after this. But I was talking to Steve about it, like men's kind of content, men's lives. Yeah, the body language book is kind of good, man. McGregor's good at it. He's the kid. McGregor studied body language, for anybody who doesn't know. That's what he transformed overnight. Hopefully the stream platform blows. But me and Steve were talking, we were saying that everything that is male related gets suppressed and chucked to the bottom. YouTube put like Jeffree Star content to like #1, and all he's doing is like playing with his dog, moving into a new house. But somebody makes a video on like male testosterone levels are a third of what they used to be, and male depression is through the roof, and male suicide is, there's more deaths from male suicide every year than COVID-19, but we don't even look into this shit. So that's why I want to, I took them all down. Sorry guys. I want to give it away for free, basically. That's why I want to do on the stream platform. But that's why we want to make the stream platform, so we can have all that men's content in a safe place where it can't be taken down, we can't be shadow banned, and once the community's there, all the content's there forever, and you can keep revisiting, you can invite other people, we can build a safe community where anybody can contribute, So somebody like Elliot Holst talks about testosterone, anything like that in the future, he might be banned, he might be taken down. We can say, look, here's a safe place for you. Put your content on there, we'll pay you. Jordan Peterson's video, like I said, got taken down. You can't even watch it anymore. We'll put it on there. Like, this is a place where men need to learn about this shit. So hopefully, guys, that gets built quicker than anything else. But I'm committing to that big time. The lockdown's messing everything up because I don't really care about it personally. I've got my own views about it. I'm happy to jump on a plane and just go places. Elliot Holst is a good guy, man. I watched a lot of his videos back in the day. I think there was one on like a dragon and a lion. That was really cool. Tito Ortiz fucked that video up. If anybody's ever seen that with Chael Sonnen, that was so funny. Oh, he uploaded another one. I'll check his stuff out. I haven't looked at his stuff for a while. I'd love to get him on the podcast. But yeah, that's the streaming platform. But in terms of the podcast, and 2 points I want to make here. Podcast, I want to get as many people on as possible. I've realized how much power it's going to have, the podcast, of like, I can give you a lot of advice, but there's more, like, I'm humble enough to know there's more experts than me out there. I know like 1% of the male industry. There's so many guys out there that know loads more than me, and they're experts in their field. I'm going to get a guy I used to work with called Ravi Dadlani. He's probably one of the top 10 financial advisors in the whole of the UK. He's going to come on and tell you guys how to protect your finances, how to protect yourself against things like marriage. If you did go through a divorce, Russell Brand would be cool. Would be really cool. KSI, the YouTuber KSI, he lives over there. I nearly bought a penthouse opposite him. Like, I could literally see him from the window, and it was like 2 million, man. I just thought it was stupid. It was a vanity purchase, so I didn't do it, and I'm glad I didn't with everything that's happened. But I could see, but he only lives up there still, so it'd be funny if I can get him on. But yeah, Ravi's like the best financial advisor in the UK, like one of the top 10 or whatever. He's going to come on and teach you guys like how to protect your finances, what you can do to extend your money in the future. Just speaking to a guy who's an expert in hair loss. He does transplants. He's an expert in men who haven't lost their hair completely, but who are receding. He's able to get it back with a high success rate. He's going to come on the podcast, maybe even do a live stream. I want to wait and get him on the podcast in person. I feel like it's a lot better and there's less complications because I know it can work. Just so many people from the male industry. Steve's in Spain at the moment. He's running his own gym. So he's going to do a podcast with us, but I'm just going to get all these people on, just have a chat with them, as many as possible, to help you guys out from as many different areas as possible. And that's really, really going to help. What was the other point I was going to make? Damn. That was it, guys. So any piece of content that I create which is free, So like a podcast, I've got my own camera equipment. I can set it all up. I've got the skills to video it all myself. I just got to sit there and have a conversation with somebody that I want to talk to anyway. That's free. I'll give that to you guys for free. We'll release all of that. Any videos like this that I do, free. The videos you've got used to me doing, free. Any documentaries that didn't actually cost me anything, free. Anything that I have to pay for, like if I have to pay like 4 or 5 thousand for a flight to, I'm doing the coolest football pitches in the world soon. I'm gonna fly out and do all of them. I have to fly to Croatia, Slovenia, Gibraltar, Moscow, ton of places. It's probably gonna cost me like 5, 10 thousand. That's gonna go on the streaming platform, but it's only gonna cost you guys £3 a month for all of the content. So if it costs me like 5, 10 thousand to make that one piece of content, and it only costs you guys £3 per month for all of the content, which we won't charge for a while until we've got what we think is £3 worth a month of content on there, which is justifiable, then we'll start charging. But in terms of the exchange of value, like I'm spending way more money than I'm asking in return. So then that is when I'll ask for like, oh, okay, pay £3 a month to have access to this content. And I might release like highlights and snippets on YouTube. But in terms of the free stuff, like if it doesn't cost me anything, I'm never going to charge you guys. Like that's just pointless. And if it is really good information that's going to improve your lives, like some success stuff, or I don't know, like you get Mike Mew on the show or something, like I'll give you that for free, like that, because that's going to help you guys, man. I thought about having a donation thing, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't like taking your money. I kind of want to take money from brands. I want to take money from, like, if it is £3 in exchange for like 400 pieces of content. Eventually, like Netflix do, where I make original films, or I buy films of people like War Dogs. What was the other one I wanted? American Made with Brad. What's his name? Tom Cruise, films like that, The Departed, like I want male centric films on there. Once it's this whole big streaming platform, £3 in exchange. I think that's a good deal. But donations and stuff, I don't know. I just feel as though it just looks a little bit sus. It's like I've got an agenda, I'm trying to ask for money to, and you can, like, as much as you guys think you trust me, I don't think you can ever trust somebody you don't know. I could be spending that on some other shit. So I'd rather build it myself, or show you what you're paying for by having like 300 pieces of content on a platform and then saying £3 a month. It's going to give you millions of hours of entertainment, and we're going to add to it every single month. That exchange for me allows me to sleep well at night. So that's what I'm confident doing. But I'm going to wrap this up, guys. Thank you, everybody who came on here today, who liked it, whatever. Like I said, I need your help with this, guys. If you can share the content if you like it, because I'm pretty sure we're being shadow banned on everything. Traffic's being like slashed in half. They don't want the male industry to they don't want men to be proper men. They don't want testosterone to be high. They don't want us to be free individuals. They don't want us to go down the route of not getting married and stuff. Because if we do that, there's a lot of money they lose from marriages, divorces, lack of honeymoons. I don't know who they are. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but male industry is being suppressed. Everybody's feeling it. Let's see what we can do, guys. Best place to reach me. I read pretty much all the comments on YouTube. It's getting harder because obviously there's so many more people following us now and coming on here. There's like nearly 9,000 people. It's quite hard to keep up with the comments. You can message me at business@chrissturmey.com. But I think YouTube's the best. Then we can just set something up on here, and I can give you either my number or whatever. I've got 2 different phones, so I can give you my number, or we can set up an email thing or whatever. Or yeah, I'll help as much as I can, guys. I don't mind doing stuff for free. And you guys are the community. This is what it's going to be built off. You're the founding members, in my opinion. So anything you want me to do, within reason, of course, I'm happy to do. So, but thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a I keep thinking it's Friday because we've got a bank holiday in the UK, but have a great weekend. Practice what I said about the 3-4 months of committing to stuff. Keep me updated because I love hearing your stories, and I'll keep you guys updated about the streaming service, where we're all going. And I promise a lot more content coming now, because I think this is the time to fight back. As we're being suppressed, I think triple up on the content, quadruple up on the content, and away we go. Run a business, you give money in order to have your comment on top. Yeah, there's a lot of shit like that, right? There's a lot of shit like this, man. That's the thing. Once organic growth goes on platforms, you're fucked. It's like TikTok. TikTok recently said that somebody found out that they've got an algorithm to push good-looking people to the top, and whoever potentially they think has the most money, like the brands and whatever, they're pushing to the top. It's not even a real platform, then. It's not even as much as we think is social media. It's not. It's business media. They're not real. There's going to be more. Social media is going to be a thing of the past in the future. I think it's going to come from something like an engine coin, the Bitcoin, the alternative crypto coin, the sell masks. Yeah, themed masks or something. Shame it's not Halloween. You could like double down on those masks, man. You can get an upsell on them. But yeah, guys, I'm getting tired of shit. I'm talking bollocks now, so I'm gonna leave before I fuck it up. Thank you, Lou. I appreciate all your comments, guys. I really do. You are the real heroes. You're the community. You are First Man. It's not me. I'm just a face, an ugly face. I used to have hair. I used to be good looking. No, you're the faces of. You're the community of First Man. You're what makes it tick. You're what's going to make it grow, and in the future, like, who knows? Like, I want to run it forever, but it might get bought off me. I might, who knows what happens to me, but you're going to be the community forever. Whoever joins next, you guys are going to be responsible for them, etc. Whatever precedent, whatever culture we want to set for this group, whatever we want to do for men moving forward. Lloyd, I've seen you. I think you used to follow MSI, right? I've seen you loads of times, man. It's a beautiful surname. But yeah, you guys are going to be the founding members of this community. So whatever we build in the future, then it's up to you guys. I can try and set whatever precedent I want, but I think moving forward is going to be you lot. But hopefully I can bring you that streaming platform soon and a lot more content. But thank you guys. Appreciate all of your support thus far and continuing in the future. I hope I can provide as much content as possible. Thank you very much. I think you can see me. See you guys.